Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Thursday, August 21st. It is 6:25 right now. We got market opening up in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up marking liquidity here, and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. So I'm going down to the 8 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute, 10 minute, and back down to the 1 minute here. All right, looks like we are good to go. So good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, August 21st, 6:27 right now. We have market opening up in about 3 minutes. I've marked up liquidity over here. Closest level of liquidity above is right here at 44,852. Closest level below is like right at where price is currently sitting. So we'll kind of see where price ends up going from here. Overall bias for today is for the most part bearish. Right now it's currently just bearish for market structure on the 30 minute. But looking over here at the daily outlook, pretty much for today, it's medium to high conviction for a bearish bias. Both fundamentals and technicals lean downside. Fundamentals show labor softness, Fed uncertainty, and a weak earnings tone due to the Walmart earnings, while technicals confirm breakdown below key supports and bearish momentum. Conviction is high unless Powell's Jack Hole symposium speech triggers a surprise pivot. Looking over here at the overall trend, the 1 minute's currently bullish right now, but the 5 minutes bearish, 15 minutes bearish, 30 minutes bearish, 1 hour is bearish. And the 4 hour here is flipping from bullish to neutral to bearish. So with that being said, I'll be looking for the 1 minute here to flip right back to the downside. So we'll see what happens here when market opens up, but we'll know what happens shortly once, market is actually open. So just wait and see, guys. Once market opens up, we'll know the direction of the breakout shortly in about a minute. Right now, it's currently looking like it's going to be a sell if you guys are looking to take that momentum breakout. Um, and yeah, we'll see what happens here shortly. All right, guys. We got market opening up in about a minute. Let's see what's here so far. Morning, Daniel. Morning, Visual. Morning, Sam. Morning, Steven. Morning, Maria. Morning, Karen. Morning, Lila. Morning, everybody. Visual mentioned we have about 160 points overnight gap to the downside. Let's see if that gap will fill or not. Yeah, that's what I saw too, Visual. So that's kind of what I'm expecting as well. If price does decide to continue dropping from here. So the momentum breakout entry is going to be here for a sell, guys. If you do get manipulation to the upside, wait for it to come back down. I do think price will come back down eventually. It's just a matter of time until it actually does. So let me go over here and I'm just gonna back down. I just prefer to have this down at the bottom. Same with this one. All right, guys. So market is opening up in about 10 seconds. Again, direction for the breakout for today. The momentum breakout is going to be a sell. I'll be looking for a sell here as well for the or once it opens up. All right, guys. Market is now open. So a little spike right there to the downside. 24 points. All right, looks like the breakout here is about to hit its full TP. Oh, that's way down right there. So I'll come back and take a look at this in a few. Looks like the breakout right there is about to hit for 50 points. Blasting through all the liquidity. Full TP for the momentum breakout right there, guys. If you guys took that, called it right there right before market opened up. It's for a sell. Overall direction for a bias today is a sell, so no surprise there. Price is dumping all the way back down lower. So we'll continue looking here for opportunities for entry. Um, the orb entry right here, it looks like it's going to be set up at this point. So the orb low hasn't established yet, but the orb low price is going to be right here at 44,763. Possibly, not quite yet, but possibly 44,763 for a sell. So we'll see here if it holds. If it pushes lower, then obviously I'm going to drop this down a little lower, but that's where the orb low is looking like it's going to establish. So a little lower right here. Price is still dropping further and a little further there and even more further. So this is going to be a little tricky, guys, because it's dropped down so much. So it's a little bit overextended. But yeah, the orb for today is going to be, well, I'm looking for it to be a sell. So the orb low right here is going to be at 44,741. Basically, what you're looking for here is you're looking for price to break and close past the 44.71, look for the retest and continuation lower. So I'm hoping we get a clean break here. I don't like when it tests it like it's doing right here. This is kind of what's been happening all week, as you guys have seen for the past couple of days. We've had price kind of come down, test it, fake out, and then come right back up, right? So we'll see what happens here. It does not look like we're going to get a fill right away. So this might have to kind of bounce around for a bit. It looks like price is correcting back up slightly. So it is pushing up right now as we speak. We'll continue to follow it though. So yeah, huge spike back to the upside right here. This huge green candle. We had news this morning at 5:30, and then we have news at 6:45, and then we have news at 7. So 5:30, big spike candle right here. 6:45, 7. All right, so still no orb entry right now. The breakout already hit, guys, for full TP. So if you guys took the momentum breakout, full TP right there, it looks like it went for almost 100 points. Not quite, but it did hit the 50 right there. Looking over here at the orb has not filled yet. If the orb pushes above here, guys, I don't think I'll be looking for a buy because my bias for today is a sell. If you guys do want to take an orb here for a buy, you guys can go ahead and take that. I'll mark it up for you guys, but I'm not going to be taking it. I'm trading the direction of my bias and the direction of my trend. So if this pushes above, breaks and closes, retest, that's going to be for a buy. But I'm mainly going to be looking for price to come back below here, retest, and come down lower for a sell. So we'll see here in a few if that, becomes the case. So we got some market structure right here. Market structure right there. Market structure right there. All right, so looking at this right here, guys, there's also a imbalance right here. So we have an imbalance right here. If this here ends up closing below it, then it's going to invalidate the imbalance. Price is sitting within the imbalance right now as we speak. Again, our orb is going to be way down here, guys. So we're looking for price to come back down below this point at 44,741. And then I'll look for the retest and continuation lower. We don't have it yet, but that's what I'm looking for here for the orb. I'm going to clean this up here. Liquidity pretty much got wiped out from this morning, so that's pretty much done with. Looks like this imbalance here is going to be mitigated once this closes below it. So I'll just clean this up. It's not really necessary right now. So that imbalance there was mitigated pretty quickly. Price came up, established an imbalance, came back down and mitigated it. Now it's coming back down for a continuation lower. Overall market structure here is bearish. You can see over here on the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, all bearish. Also, the trends over here is pretty much bearish across the board. Prices below the pivots, trend meters red, pivots are angling down on the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute. So lower time frames confirm bearish trend. Also on the higher time frames, 30 minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour, all bearish as well. So um, yeah, I'm pretty free and clear here for sells. I'm mainly going to look for sells, not really looking for buys here. Um, the orb entry is still going to be down here at 44,738. Or sorry, not 738. 44,741. So I'll be looking for the orb here if and when it does come up. It hasn't came up yet, but I will be watching for the orb here as price drops lower. There's going to be two entries here that are going to kind of set up alongside each other. We're going to have a high-low break and retest right here at 44,738, and we're also going to have a orb entry over here for a sell at 44,741. So they're a few points away. This is going to be the orb entry right here, and the high-low break and retest is going to be right below it a few points. So I'll be watching for it here to break and close below, and then continue down lower from there. So again, we're just waiting for price to break and close below here, retest it, come back lower. And then same with this over here. If price comes down lower from this point, we'll be looking for price to break and close below the low, retest, and come back lower from that point. I'm hoping we get this entry pretty quick because we do have high impact news event right here at 6:45. So if we get too close to the news event, I'm not going to be taking any trades until the news events have passed. And then right after that, we have another news event over here at 7 o'clock. So this is gonna be really tricky. We need price to come down right now. We don't have a lot of time here to waste. So I'm hoping price drops down lower. If it doesn't come down soon enough, then I might have to sit out of this trade because we do have high impact news coming up right here at 6:45. We have S&P Global Manufacturing PMI, S&P Global Services PMI. Both are forecasted to be negative, so it's going to be in our favor. But I do need this to come down right now because we're about a few minutes away from news. So we got news over here at 6:45. It is 6:38 right now. So if this here doesn't come down in the next minute or two, there's not really going to be entry for me to take there because I don't want to be caught in the manipulation. So we'll see here if price actually comes down and provides opportunity for entry. If it doesn't, then I'm gonna have to wait until news passes. So we have that high impact news event right there, 6:45. Then at 7 o'clock, we have existing home sales month over month and for July, which are also forecasted to be negative. Yeah. I think existing home sales are going to be lower too. I've been talking to a lot of my friends who are in real estate. I've been looking for a home as well. Um, the whole market in general is just not doing so great. So, that's kind of what we're seeing over here for the existing home sales. I'm expecting it to be lower than average or lower than expected at least. All right, we got price over here kind of bouncing back and forth. No drop down below. So unfortunately, it does not look like we're going to get that entry before news, guys. We have news over here at 6:45. If you guys want to take entries around this time, I mean, feel free to take it at your own risk. But just understand that, if you do lose a trade or if you do win a trade, a lot of it's going to be based off luck because the news here is going to spike price. And it's just, luck's it's either luck's going to be on your side where price spikes in your direction or it's going to be against you and it spikes against you. It doesn't matter if the news here is forecast to be negative. The news can even come up negative and price can still push up, right? Or vice versa, price could be positive and the news could be positive, but price can still come right back down. I've traded news enough times in my lifetime to understand that news cannot be predicted. Doesn't even matter if it's positive or negative. The initial spike on news has nothing to do with what's released. It's just wherever, sentiment wants to push price. So we'll see. Right here, guys, we have a couple imbalances that have came up. So what we have an imbalance that is right here. And we have another imbalance, which is right here. So price pretty much broke below this imbalance, retested it, and came down lower. See how price came over here, came and touched the imbalance, didn't actually close above it, but it just came down, retested, and then came down further. So we got two imbalances right there. Again, if you're looking to take entry here, there's going to be a possible orb entry, but it's really, really close to news, guys. It's 6:41 right now, so we're getting really, it's a little too close to news here, so I'm not really looking to take it. News is at 6:45, so unless the entry comes down and hits like within a minute or two, okay, so I might be able to take this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out before news comes out. So I'll put a pending order here. 44,741 if it closes below, but I'll be watching for 6:45. I'll probably be getting out of that position before the news ends up coming up. So I do like the price action here. I don't know if this will come back and fill, but I'll kind of see here if it does. So entry is going to be at 44,741. This candle has about 17 seconds left on it. So I'll put my limit order there, but again, I'll be closing it before news happens. This has to close below, which it looks like it's going to. And I'll put my limit order right there.
Submitted. Or order submitted.
All right, so my pending order is right there. Hasn't filled yet.
Order filled.
Looks like it's filled right there. We're getting some spike of volatility here, so let's see if this here comes back down. So we got some pretty heavy volatility here as price continues to kind of bounce around this point. I'm hoping we don't get caught in the pre-news volatility because this is what might be the case, or price here might kind of spike around a bit. I'm in the position right here for the orb. So the orb and the break and retest below there is still currently active. So right there, you can see my position is currently active right now. Currently watching it here as price continues to move along. I'm hoping it comes down quickly because it's going to be 643 right now. And as we get closer to news at 645, that's going to be an issue. So I'm hoping price here comes down. There he goes. We come down a little bit. I'll be watching it again, like I said, because if we get too close to 645, I'm going to be pulling out of the position early, most likely. And profit currently about 6 points. So I'm going to have another minute here to hold on to it before I might have to pull out early. So we got price over here, about 20 seconds in this candle left. So we got about a minute 20 until the news happens in a few. So price here, we're starting to get this pre-news movement. Again, the S&P news is going to be negative, so I'm hoping it drops down a little bit just before the news is released. But again, like I said, I'm hoping it just doesn't sit here because we have a minute left. Okay, so price is coming down a little bit right here. News is coming out shortly. All right, so we got price kind of pushing down a little bit. I'm gonna get out early, guys. I'm out of the position right there. I gotta get out. The news is coming up too quickly, so had to get out of that. So I'm out of the position there, guys. If you guys want to hold on to it, again, feel free to hold on to it at your own risk, guys, but I'm out of that position there. We got news coming up in about 20 seconds. I'm not gonna get caught in this news spike. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna risk it. I got out with a little bit of profit here, not too much, but a decent profit. Made about 200 to 400 per account. So I'm out of the position right there, guys. We'll follow it and I'll see if it comes down. There goes a new spike. So see that big spike right there? That's what I was trying to avoid. Big spike right there. And there we go as the price comes all the way down. See, this would have stopped me out if I would have held on to it. It would have stopped me out before I would have came right down. Price manipulation right there, directly off news. So out of that position right there. And we'll see what happens next. Damn, look at that. So this thing it did perfect. Like it did exactly what we expected, but because we had the new spike, man, see this thing is crazy how far it dropped down like that. At least, so here's the good thing. The thing is, my analysis here played out perfect, right? The analysis here played out perfect. It came down like we were expecting. Let's check the news. So that surprisingly, the news here was actually positive. News is positive right there. Nice work, Daniel. Daniel got it for 50. So he actually held on to it. I guess you had a wider stop loss, but he held on to it. And then and this is what I was talking about the news, right? It doesn't matter what the news is going to present. Here it's positive, but look how price dumped. It did the complete opposite. Pure price manipulation right there. So this thing dumped down pretty heavy. Yeah, this thing dumped down pretty heavy right there. But yeah, made my partial on that. So I will go over here and take a screenshot of this. I'm going to be looking for the next entry here, of course, as price continues to move along. But yeah, this is the entry right here. Yeah, Shiv said good call, honestly, got out at the same time. Rashida said that was also a levels, had a stop loss at 25 and it hit. Nice work, Rashida, on holding on to that one as well. Let's see. Christian said didn't give me a chance to get out on time, but yeah, trading. That's the trading we have now. Time the trade is what we get, not best setup. Yeah, exactly. The best this wasn't the best setup because it was so close to news, but it did exactly what expected. So I'm glad the orb here kind of played out, even though it's like it wasn't the best type of setup, but it did still move in the direction that we anticipated. So momentum breakout for today, full TP over here for 100 points. Breakouts have been on fire for the past couple months, I've noticed, guys. Last week, all of the momentum breakouts hit and all of the orb entries hit. The orb over here again, it hit today, but because of news, we had to get out early. I'm still looking for any other opportunities for entry here. I don't have anything here at the moment, but I'll keep looking for opportunities here as price continues to move along. I'm still looking for sells, so even though price did push up right here, I'll mark up news price, which is right there. I'm gonna clean that up. I'm gonna be looking for price to come back down lower. So I'll be looking for price here to come back lower. We have another price gap right here, a big one actually, which was from here to here. Not really a price gap, but more so a imbalance, right? So we got a bunch of imbalances over here. You guys can see the market structure. It's a little messy, but market structure over here, you can see how it kind of consolidated range here for a bit, then it consolidated range for a bit further right there. Then price broke down below here and started dropping even further from this point. So, yeah, let me take a screenshot of my profits. There's nothing to take right now, guys, so it's okay. You're not going to miss out on any trades at the moment. But here are my profits from that one trade that I took for the orb. And not a crazy amount of profits, but it's profits nonetheless. Finally got my first profit for the week, which I'm happy with, at least for now. All right. So here go my profits for the day so far. for the day and for the week so far. So it wasn't too bad a profit. So here are my profits. I locked in about 150 on these accounts up here. So 150, 360, 200, 120, 160, 120, 140, 480. And then on my other accounts over here, I locked in 480, 180, 90, 210. So for a lot of these over here, I mean, there was some slippage, of course, because I had to abruptly exit the entry for I just canceled out all my entries. But for the most part, I mean, it's pretty solid profit across the board. So a couple $1,000 here, it looks like. I'll update my trader sync to reflect those profits, and then we'll kind of see where the totals are for right now. But yeah, those are my profits from this trade, which is the orb entry. Would have hit full TP, but I didn't hold on to it because of the news, and I'm happy with my profits that I got from there. Now we got price pushing back over here. It's retesting this imbalance. So I'll put this right here so that you know that it's an imbalance and it's not really a resistance, just imbalance. These are all imbalances right here. They're not resistance. So here goes a break and retest of this imbalance right here. And then now it's coming back down lower. So if it comes back lower from this point, this is going to indicate that, this imbalance here is it's a strong imbalance. There's also a imbalance down here. This is going to be imbalance from the bottom. It's a lot of imbalances. These are actual resistance, but this down here is just an imbalance. All right, so I'm gonna go here to my trader sync real quick. I'm gonna update my trades right there. And then we'll come back and I'll show you guys my totals in a few. Refresh this, year to date, import my trades from personal account. Nice. Sam over here also took the trade from earlier. He closed out at 25. Nice work. Yeah, solid work, guys. All right, we're still waiting here, guys. Waiting for some sort of confirmation at the moment. There's no confirmations here right now. Price is currently at the imbalance, so price here is within the imbalance. If it closes above it, then we'll have this imbalance. We'll basically have all these imbalances invalidated and mitigated, but right now it's still currently active. This imbalance right here is from this red candle right here, came down, gap between this and this next one right here. That's where I got the imbalance. So. See as price continues to move along here. I'm still looking for sells, guys, so I'm not really looking for buys here. This here is basically a news reaction. So over here, you guys can see from the news this morning, it was very positive, right? So it's positive for S&P Global Manufacturing PMI and S&P Global Services PMI, plus S&P Global Composite PMI. So this being positive right here, you can see the initial drop was basically a manipulation to the downside, and now it's correcting right back up because the news here was all positive. There's no need for it to drop, and it still dropped because price got manipulated right there. We have another news event right here at 7 o'clock. It's new home sales for July and month over month. Also forecasted to be negative. So right here, price can possibly, this could be another manipulation back to the upside and then right back down once the new home sales data comes out right here at 7 o'clock. So I'd probably just sit out and wait for the data to come out. Once the data has came out, then you can start looking for opportunities for entry. This here has been mitigated. So I mean, these are all going to get mitigated. It looks like the imbalance right there was mitigated. Now it's pushing up higher. We have another imbalance right here, not a new one, but previous one from earlier. Again, if this here closes above the area, then this could be possible confirmation of breaking close past the imbalance. But we'll see. We will see here. What will happen in a few? Sam said I want to buy for some reason, but after it's out of this range above. Yeah, I agree. So like with Sam, he's mentioned that he's okay with taking buys, but he wants to break out of this range into this area above here. I would agree with that too because there's a lot of liquidity sitting up here. Here's the thing that might happen. So price, if it does push up higher, it may go back into this consolidation range, right? Because that's where price was before. Over here, price was within this range until it came down and then it may come back up and just sit within this range again. So I wouldn't take any trades within this range here. I would wait for price to actually break above and sit above here, right? It's a little bit messy up here because price has been dropping since London session, but that's kind of where I see price going, especially with all that liquidity sitting up there. I would expect it to get grabbed at some point, wiped out. All right, we have nothing here right now. Again, if you guys are just joining in, guys, there's two entries that came up so far. We had the momentum breakout hit full TP here for 100 points. We had the orb entry over here. It came up around news time, so I pulled out early, but this ended up dropping down to about 50 points, maybe 100. Yeah, 50 points, almost 100, but 50 points for sure. And now I'm just looking for price to come on its way back down for me to take more entries. Looks like we got a sweep right here off this lower high. So price came up, swept right here directly off the lower high. Quick little sweep right there. There was an MPSV2 right here too that happened pre-market. Just gonna mark these up so that we can identify where the volatility pushed through from. So right here, it looks like we had a sweep. Price came down, came right back up, swept right here at this lower high, which lined up with the imbalance. And then we have price here now kind of just sitting sideways. So we don't got anything here right now. Price here just sitting sideways. Looking over here at the overall market structure, still very bearish, as you guys can see. All right, looks like my profits here have updated. So let me move my trader sync over here. So my first trade for the week, I'm currently at 12,130. Not too much, but you can see here this was very, very partial compared to what I'm usually getting because I had to pull out early. So I made 12,130 for the day so far. For the month so far, I'm currently up 136,430. And then for the year so far, I'm currently up 718,660. So not too bad. We've had a pretty nice win streak right here from July up until August. So for August so far, I've only taken four trades, currently on a four trade win streak. So not bad. Solid profit for that partial move there for the orb. So I'll take that. Ben is asking, would you look for MPS V2 today? I would look for MPS V2s if it comes back down, Ben. The overall direction of market structure and trend is very bearish, so I'd be looking for MPS V2s for sells, not necessarily for buys here, but for sells they could be pretty nice. Looking over here on the lower time frames, 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute price here is below the pivots. Trend meters red, pivots are angling down. So right here, I'd be looking for sells, of course, on the lower time frames. I'd use the higher time frames here for confluence, the 30 minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour. They're all also bearish. So 30 minute here prices below the pivots, trend meters red, pivots are angling down. Same with the 1 hour here price below, trend meter red, pivots angling down. 4 hour over here was bullish, shifted to neutral. Now it's shifting back down further to bearish. But again, I would be looking here mainly for the sells. So overall trend here is indicating to look for sells long term and short term. And then the market structure right here is also, it's not very strong for market structure, but it is overall pointing towards the downside. So yeah, if you're going to look for some MPS V2s, Ben, I would look for some sells, mainly for some sells. So I basically would have to look for it to come back down here further. So we still have this lower imbalance right here, guys. Price is sitting up here and it's not really moving right now. It's kind of just sitting tight. Let's check the news for the new home sales. So the news for existing home sales, a month over month and for the month are actually very positive. So there's a bit of a surprise here with regards to both of the news events. S&P, basically the PMI data was positive, was forecasted to be negative, and same with the homes data right here. So that's pretty much all of the news for today so far. We have the Jack Hole Symposium later on this evening, but other than that, we just have gas stock change at 7:30, which is not super high impact. So the catalysts here are pretty much done with for the day. If price decides to climb up, that's completely fine. Price can push up higher, but for the most part, I would be looking for price to come back down for my entries because market structure here is still somewhat bearish for the most part, and the trend here is still somewhat bearish as well. So we got nothing here so far. Higher low right there. This higher high pretty much pushed through. These imbalances have been mitigated, so I'm going to clean this up. Price basically broke and closed past this. This is a high-low break and retest off this higher high. Not one I would take because of the my bias, but right here still lined up pretty nicely. So price broke past this higher high, retested right there, and pushed all the way back up. So this right here was a high-low break and retest for a buy to the upside. Not one I would take because it went against the criteria, but nonetheless, this is a setup right here. So we got price pushing up higher. We got price pushing up higher. We have the resistance here. Price is currently at it. It's pushing into this next resistance. Yeah, we'll see what happens here in a few. Nice. PC said full TP from 737 to 852. News is my buddy. Yeah, definitely. Solid. So looks like PC over here got in at 737. He got the correction back up. Yeah, so PC over here, he got back around the news area, right where the news price was. Pretty much rode that up, retrace, and then rode that up higher. And then rode the correction all the way back up to where it was supposed to go. The news events right here were all bullish, so this is normal. Like this is where price was supposed to go. We just had some initial manipulation to the downside right here. First news event was right here at 645. So we had the PMI news right here, inflation. It came down where it did the opposite of news, and then it corrected all the way back up. So we got price pushing up higher. It's currently at this upper level liquidity right now. Not sure if you're still looking for those buys, Sam, but price is breaking out of that range as we talked. It's looking to wipe out all of this liquidity up here, it looks like. We have, I mean, there's a ton of imbalances right here that just came up. So there's a big imbalance right here. Huge imbalance right there. I mean, I'd come back and take a look at that a little later, but we'll see. Sam's trying to get a sweep at 903. Yeah, it looks good right there. It looks like price would have grabbed liquidity here. It'll get exhausted and then it'll come right back down. 903. It's right at 903. Did you get that sweep, Sam? Or did it not fill? Because it got literally right to 903. I don't know if it was close enough to get your fill. All right, can't wait to clean this up. I've been waiting to clean this area up for a while. Looks like we're finally going to have that opportunity now as price pushes up further. We still have structure here, so I'm not going to mess with these, but everything else, clean this up here. Okay, cool. Sam is in the sweep right now. Let's see. I'm assuming you're going for 25 or 15, I'm assuming. 15 or 25. That's your typical normal range there. There's more liquidity up here too. So what might happen is price might come up and grab this liquidity, then come down further. I'm hoping it comes down for you. So I'm with you on your analysis right there. Pretty much price came up, grab liquidity, gets exhausted, maybe consolidate here for a bit and come back down. Or just initial, immediate drop down right there. Okay, solid work right there. Hopefully it comes down further. Waiting for this to come down, hit Sam's target. So nice grab of liquidity of your price. Pretty much grabbed all the liquidity, and I'm expecting it to come back down. There we go. Let's go, Sam. Let's get you to your full target. Nice. Yeah. Rashida said the levels just keep hitting. Yeah, the levels are smooth. Those whole numbers are just they're getting filled like every time, especially if you have the volatility behind it. So we had the buy momentum down here. This thing pushed up pretty nice to the upside. Sell momentum right here, roll that down, all the level entries. Pretty smooth pushes over there. Yeah, Visual said he's going for the gap. Yeah, I could see it going for the gap as well. So we'll follow it here, guys. Liquidity here got pretty much wiped out for the most part. I'll clean this up a little bit here. I'll leave this top one, but we'll continue following it here. I don't have anything to take right now. Price is pushing past all of the resistance here. And I'm expecting this to get exhausted pretty soon. So I'm expecting this to get exhausted at some point and make its way back down. It's just always tricky if you want to trade at these like far extensions, like these extremes here. I mean, for the most part, it looked like price grab liquidity. I don't think it's going to hold though. I think it came up to grab the liquidity. It might sit up here for a little bit and then eventually make its way back down. A little messy, but that's there. So Nick actually took the orb to the upside. So nice work, Nick. You caught this right here above. Cool. So Nick caught the orb right here to the upside for 50 points. Solid work right there, Nick. Yeah, in this type of market, it looks like you can, like for the most part, you can take orbs in both directions because it tends to like will come below, reverse, come right back up, and then just, come right back up higher. All good, Sam. And I was hoping it was going to come down, but it looked like, it wasn't done pushing up higher. That news price or that news push was just too strong. So it's all good, Sam. You'll bounce back on the next one. Visual said if it comes down, it'll bounce from the 2-minute orb high. Yeah, that's what I'm expecting too, Visual. I was looking for it to maybe get exhausted around this point, come back, retest it, and then possibly come back up. Or, come over here, break past it, retest it, and then come back down into the range. Really strong reaction to the news today, based off the news events that came out today. I mean, it was all bullish, so of course it should have pushed up. But yeah, big surprise over here with those news events because I thought it was going to be negative too. I wasn't forecasting it to push up like that or even just push up at all, you know. But that's the market for you. Market plays around, it plays games, it tricks you, it does the most. And that's just part of the game. So like, we've talked about this before, guys, and I've mentioned this to you guys like time and time again, trading is not really about identifying good entries. It's really identifying the bad entries and being able to avoid them, right? So for me, I haven't really taken that many entries. A lot of people have talked to me about this when they see my stats. I'm like really, really conservative with my entries here. Like I could have taken a lot more entries and I probably would have had some red days throughout the month, but I've been very conservative with just taking quality entries. And, even with the entry today, it was a quality entry, but we had news, so I pulled out early. Um, and this is how much I've been able to lock in these types of profits. I actually have more profits because I haven't linked all of my accounts to TraderSync. I have about another maybe 20 accounts that are not linked to TraderSync right now. So it's a little more than that 12,000 that shows right there. Obviously you can see over here, if you look at my screenshot of my profits, there's more than 40 accounts here. So a bunch right there. And then I have a bunch right here as well. But it doesn't matter. The monetary value is not really what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is really the consistency of profitability. So, the real skill with trading comes with being able to survive these market conditions. Because last week was great, right? The past 2 weeks were great. Easy money for the past 2 weeks. This week was a little choppy. So like, you see a lot of people, and this is kind of what happens with a lot of people's with their account curve, right? Um, Here, let's go down here. So basically, this is how like most people's accounts look like. Sometimes you'll see people do good for like a week and they'll go up like this, and then they have one bad week and they lose everything, right? They're back to break even. Then they have an okay week, then another bad week, and it's just a downward spiral. And then they have one good week and it comes back up, and then they're just ended up at break even, right? So this is usually how you'll see a lot of people's accounts, right? They'll have a good week, maybe a good 2 weeks, maybe a good 3 weeks, and they blow it all in that fourth week. Then they have another 2 good weeks, and they have 2 bad weeks. Another good 2 weeks, bad week. Good week, good week, good week, bad week, bad week. So you don't want your yield curve to look like this, right? If you look over here at my yield curve, it's been pretty consistent. I had a bad couple months, but that was because of the tariff news, right? So here's my yield curve. See how we had a really good start to the year, January up until April. And then yes, between April and July, I did have that kind of back and forth because I was adapting to the market. But then right here, it started to smoothing out again, and I'm right back up. So this is a type of yield curve that you guys want to have. You want to have a yield curve that goes up. Yeah, it's going to come down sometimes, but you want to be able to hold it and not have it go negative, and then bounce right back into your upwards curve. So in order to do that, you have to understand like how to avoid bad trading days and bad trading weeks in general, right? Because yeah, you can get lucky and you can have these wins here and there, but if you're having wins and then you're having a lot of losses as well, you're going to end up at break even, right? You're not going to have consistency. So just remember that when you guys are taking trades, I don't care about the profit. I care about the consistency of my profitability. I want to see an upwards trend in my accounts for the entire year. I don't want to see it where it's going up and then it's coming down very sharply and then I'm back up and I'm back down. Because then if this is the case and this is how my accounts look like, then I kind of waste a couple months, right? Because I'll do good for the first couple months and I'll lose it all. Do good for a couple months and then lose it all. And then I'm like, it's like, what did I do? I just wasted like 2 or 3 months making profit, then losing it, then making profit, then losing it. Um, that's the key thing there, guys. That is the key thing when you're trading. Because you can see when people post profits. Like people will post profits and they'll be very profitable like for like a day or a couple days, and then they just become silent for like a couple months because they blow their account. I've been in the trading space for a long time, so I know the game. Like I know what happens with people, and like there's only a reason why people stop trading is because they blow their accounts. Um, and that's not to put anybody down or to like make you guys feel bad. It's this just how it is. Like you got to think about it. There's only so many people who really succeed at trading long term. Like you got to treat trading like a marathon, not a race or a sprint, but a marathon where you can just be consistent all year round. Yeah, exactly. Simon mentioned sharp over overall profit. I agree 100%. I don't even care about the profits, guys. I care about the wins and I care about the consistency. Um, that's why if you look at my calendar here, I care about looking at like green days, right? So if you look at my boxes here, I care about how many more green days I have versus my red days. Right? July over here, you can see my green days, they outweigh my red days heavily. And then same with my June over here, I have more green days. It was more balanced in June, maybe half green, half red. And then May over here was kind of a not so great month, more balanced right there in April. So you can see over here, I got better over time, right? So over here was more of a kind of balanced month. June got better, more green days over red days. July, more green days over red days. And then August over here, haven't taken that many trades, but I've had all pretty much green days. So that is well, that's for the most part. That's kind of what I aim for. All right, guys, we have some consolidation here. There's no other entries to take at the moment. I'm gonna clean this up, take off that high. So we got a higher high right there, and we got a higher low right here. Price is pretty much ranging and consolidating within this middle area. So if you're looking to take entries here, I'd look for prices flip back below. Or if you're looking to take buys here, look for price to push up and actually hold above this area. Price actually broke this higher high right here, but didn't actually hold. So broke past it right there, but didn't hold. Just a quick break. Yeah, next, yeah, I like taking orbs whenever it happens, but I only take a breakout once. Yeah, I agree, Nick, 100% with the orb. The orb is very versatile. Like sometimes it'll work both ways, sometimes it'll work just one way. But we've been in this choppy market lately where it's been working kind of both ways. That's what I've noticed. Let's see, Sam said liquidity. I too did give 20, but I wanted 2060 minimum, so I did not set break even. Risk reward is key. Yeah, definitely, Sam. Once you start doing like one to twos, it's been super helpful. For the most part, I've been okay with like one to ones, but in this type of market, um, it's better to do the one to two because the long term it'll balance out a lot more smoother. Or if you do one to threes, even better. But for the most part, I'm going for those one to twos just to get in and out of the positions very quickly. Yeah, PC said the real problem we have is all these condescending live traders that got lucky during COVID, so they think they can teach a system to the public, which leads people down a spiral of disaster. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who haven't really traded that long. Like they haven't really tested the test of time. I've been trading live for uh I don't know, like 10 years now. 8 years like every day, Monday through Friday. But before that I was doing like, partial like 3 days a week or whatnot. So I've been trading live for like about 10 to yeah, 10 years total, maybe 8 years every day, Monday through Friday. So pretty much all my live streams have gone back until like for a long time. But yeah, it's really the test of time, if like the thing is like there's a lot of traders out there who are just they haven't really experienced all types of market conditions where they can really like they can really teach a system that works long term. That's why for me, my system here has been pretty much the same for the most part. I've just like made slight adjustments. Like before, I used to take a lot of market orders and I'd take a lot of quicker, smaller scalps. But now, I'm more focused on limit orders and and I guess more balanced moves. Because before we used to go for like 10 points and that was working. I mean, it still works now. It's just the losses would really hurt a lot. So for the most part, I probably wouldn't want to keep taking those types of trades. Um, Mainly for my mental, really. The trades still work. Those 10-point moves are still hitting. Like if you look over here, pretty much all these like a high-low scalp right here. This would have hit for 10 points, of course, right? We used to do 1030. The strategy still works perfectly fine. It's just, it's not good for my mental. 10 points right there too. So the original strategies that we applied years ago, they still work perfectly fine. It's just for me, I don't like applying those type anymore because, well, especially since I'm trading for clients for the hedge fund, those types of entries don't really resonate with majority of people. They find it too risky. Yeah, Justin said if the breakout doesn't happen in the first 5 to 7 minutes off a 2-minute orb, I found solid results doing a 15-minute orb with a 5-minute candle closure breakout. Okay, nice to know. Justin, I'll take a look at that too. Because I've noticed that as well, but I just haven't really followed it. Yeah, because like you said, the 2-minute orb, it should hit right away, but it doesn't always hit right away, which is kind of annoying because you want it to hit right away. Yeah, Nick said I've tried the 15, 5, and 2 minute orb, similar to what Visual has mentioned. 2 minute orb works best for him. Yeah, for me too, because I don't like waiting for it. So like I'd rather get in and out very quickly, whether it be a win or a loss, I'd rather get in and out pretty quickly. So I do agree with Nick. The 2 minute orb does resonate with me more because I don't like waiting for it too much. Um, but yeah, if the market's kind of slow, kind of like today. Today it was very choppy here initially on open. So right here it kind of went back and forth, but eventually did break below. So if we were to measure this, so let's see. So either way, it looks like the 15-minute orb still would have lined up with it still would have lined up with the same opening range here. Because this here went back and forth for quite some time. Nice work, Sam. Sam caught the break and retest right there. Yeah, I know there was a break and retest right here, but I wasn't looking to take it right now because of the overall market structure and bias. But yeah, it looks like it did hit right there, right, Sam? Or it's still pushing right now for 40. There's a high-low break and retest right here, guys, for anybody who's in it. It's still technically running right now. This candle broke past it, retested right there. I think the volatility here is it's not super heavy, but it's pretty decent. It's currently at 24 ATR. So this is a high-low break and retest currently running in profit. Looking over here at the overall trend, I don't think I'd be convinced to take buys here just yet because of the it just hasn't really confirmed here on the 15. It's over here on the 1 minute, which is bullish. Price is above the pivots. Trend meters green. Pivots are angling up. Same with the 5 minute here. Price is now above the pivots. It's currently holding above here. The trend meters green. The pivots are angling up. But over here on the 15, it hasn't really confirmed yet. So I don't know if this would have been an entry that I would have been confident in taking yet. Because it closed above it. What I would like to see is another candle here to actually hold and then continue climbing from there. But yeah, overall, it was still a valid entry for a buy there. I just think the 40 points would have been a little too much for me. I probably would have went for the 30 would have hit here and my stop loss would have gotten moved in profit 10 points. So yeah, if I was in this position, I would have gotten out already at 10 points right there. Because my stop loss would have moved in profit once it hit 30. But yeah, glad you caught some of that right there, Sam. Sam took it for 20 and recovered. Nice. Yeah, see how price here is going back and forth? There's not enough consistency here for me to take any buys just yet. But yeah, high low break and retest right there, profit and target, 10 points. And we'll keep following it here as price continues to move along. Just hoping to get a full TP at some point today, but it's okay. I'll keep following it. Yeah, Nick said it happens consistently in both directions. I combine with CVD to see the potential fake outs. Did find the 15-minute orb on NQ is pretty consistent. Just don't like the volatility of NQ. Yeah, so 100%. Like Nick over here mentioned that the 15-minute orb was nice on NQ, and I agree with that too because the volatility is so high. I feel like the 2 minute orb on NQ is a little more tricky because it's easier to get basically stop lossed out, like a spike to your stop loss. But if you do it on the higher time frame, like the 15, maybe the 15 and the 5, it's a little easier to catch it that way. Yeah, NQ is just too volatile for me, Nick. I wouldn't even bother. I've tried to trade NQ like over the years, but it just never really fit me. It was too volatile. Like when I lose a trade on NQ, I would get really annoyed because a lot of times here, let's just go to NQ real quick. A lot of times whenever I took a trade on NQ and it lost, it would typically, like for example, right here, it would like spike to my stop loss and then shoot right back up. It happens so fast and it's so annoying because it's like because it's like okay, so like I don't think this would have hit stop loss. This is a high-low break and retest right here, but sometimes the spikes are just way too fast. Yeah, see like something like this right here, you no way you could do 40-20. You probably would have to do something like or even 50-25 is still yeah, see this still would have stopped me out right here. I guess like 60-30 still would have stopped me out. Yeah, see, you'd have to do something really wide, like a 50-100. for NQ. Because the thing is, like, the analysis here would have been perfectly fine, right? Break and retest off this. But because it stops it stops out so far out, you need to have a pretty wide range because it's way too volatile. All right, so back to why I'm over here, guys. A little slower. I mean, if you guys wanted something even slower than this, you can go to ES, right? Now these over here, 2040 would be way too far out. Like you'd have to go even tighter with ES over here. For ES, you probably would do something like maybe 2010, right? Something like that. ES is just a little too slow for me. YM is a good balance, good in between. Yes, Sam said then sweep it. Yeah, for NQ, I think NQ would be good for sweeps. Personally, I think NQ would be a good asset for sweeps um, because you get a lot of those fake outs. So, yeah, I agree. Nick over here said I didn't spend that much time on NQ. You could sweep it, but I don't know. The TP stop loss you take is just so large. Yeah, and I agree with you too, 100%, Nick. I don't really like having a wide TP stop loss like that. I like it pretty tight and pretty quick to get in and out. All right, we got gas stock change over here in about 5 minutes, guys, or 3 minutes actually. It's low impact, but it's still news, so something to maybe still look out for. Natural gas stock change right here. Happens every Wednesday. It's nothing special, but it's noon news nonetheless. Let's see. Rashida said levels again. Yeah, no, definitely. So Rashida's been taking the levels entry. If you guys are still following the levels entry or level strategy, I know Rashida's like one of the few people who've been following it ever since I kind of introduced it to you guys. It works very well if you guys know how to use it properly. And I'm glad Rashida over here is killing it. She said the thing with NQ is 50 ticks is equal to 12 points, so you have to be careful. Yeah, 100%. Rashida, like because NQ is calculated in ticks, with YM, ticks and points are the same thing. So if you have 10 ticks, it's the same thing as 10 points. But with NQ, like Rashida said, 50 ticks for NQ is equal to 12 points. So it's like it's a big difference, like even calculating profit and calculating risk. So that's why for me, I don't like NQ. It's too all over the place. You have to like there's more of like you have to do more math to identify what your targets and stop loss should be versus with YM, it's pretty straightforward and you can use whole numbers. Steven's asking, Sean, how often do you use your profit split to pay your bills? Like, how do you request payout once a month? Yeah, I usually do once a month. Usually once a month or whenever I can get the payout. For me, I would prefer to pull out my profit and then have it set back to reset rather than having to leave money in there. I don't scale on my profit counts. And I also don't really use my profit split to pay my bills because I just have a lot of cash that's held over from the past couple years. The past couple years trading with you guys here, I've made a lot of profit and I just have I have money that's kind of just sitting there. That's what I use to pay my bills. That's why like for me, I'm not really pressured to force any trades here because yeah, I do request payouts monthly or I guess bi-monthly depends on the month. Like for example, if you look at my profits for the year so far, I wasn't able to take profits. I wasn't able to take payouts on certain months, right? So like over here, we had pretty good January, right? January took a payout for that month. February took a payout for that month. March took a payout for that month. April over here, I had a loss, so I had to make up this loss first before I can get that payout. So like April, May, it was slow months for me. I didn't take any payouts for April or May. And then June over here, I finally took a payout. It wasn't a big one, but I took a payout. I was able to recoup my losses from April and May. And then I had a small payout here in June. Then July over here, I had a payout for the month. And then August, obviously, I'm going to make a payout for the month as well. So, yeah, I mean, I try to do payouts every month, but there's going to be some slow months where I have a negative and I have to make it up the following month before I can get a payout. But I have money that I've saved over the years from trading that I don't really, I'm not pressured to make a payout every single month. I think that's what really screws up people, right? For a lot of people, if you're depending on that payout to pay your bills, like I mean, like you, Steven, this is why you've been failing so badly at trading for over the past couple of years. I feel like you just had that pressure to make that money so you could pay bills, right? And every time you take that like you feel the need to take more risk, you just blow your account. And that's the thing with a lot of people. That's what sucks with trading because it's all psychological, right? You could have a trading plan in place, you could have a strategy in place, but once your psychology starts to kick in, like you feel the need or the itch to like take a trade because you feel like you need to pay off bills or something like that, then that's where you start to make mistakes and you start to blow accounts. For me, that's why I'm very calm and I'm very consistent with my trading. Like for example, for someone who needs the money, they wouldn't be able to just hold off taking trades like this for August, right? I've been able to just sit out of the market for a lot of these days because I'm not strapped for cash. Like I don't feel like I need to make a certain amount of money to pay off my bills. I already have cash to pay off my bills. That's why I did all the heavy lifting from trading from basically 2020 up until now, right? We're in 2025. I made a lot of money trading during COVID, made a lot of money after that, and then after that, and then after that. And this year it's kind of I'm just kind of coasting, right? This is why I don't really teach anymore. I don't really sell a course. I don't really do any of that stuff. I kind of just coast and I make profits from trading. And now I'm starting the hedge fund. So a lot of that capital is going back. It's being reinvested into these other business ideas where I can, basically multiply my money from trading. So that's just another thing to think about, guys, when you guys are trading. Because I feel like a lot of people you just feel very pressured to force entries and it causes you to make mistakes. I mean, you're a prime example, Steven. Like you're an example of a churn, right? Like this is I've been trading with you for years, bro, and you haven't found that consistency. Like you will like you'll do well and then you'll blow it all in like one day. And I think like that's it's a horrible cycle to be in because I've known you for how many years now, Steven. I've seen you. You've done really well. You had months where you just have very, very high consistency, and then one day you just blow all of it, and you're like, okay, I blew my account, and I got to start over. And then you start to go on this pattern where you kind of this is what your account looks like, right? You do really well for a month, and then for the rest of the year, you're kind of just in limbo because you can't find that consistency. You need to have that consistency where you have this but it's not like a very quick push to the upside. Like you have that, but it's like it's a smaller push to the upside, like consistency, 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 maybe some losses, consistency back up. But I mean, for a lot of people, that's what they have. They have a consistency for a week or two, and then they lose it all, and then they just end up in that cycle. This is kind of pointless. If your accounts look like this, then it's kind of pointless to trade, right? Because you're not really making any money. You're kind of just making some money, you're losing it all, then you're making some money, then you're losing it all. It's 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 not a good habit to have. Because at that point, trading is just a hobby at that point. You should never treat trading like a hobby. You should be treating trading like a business. And your main goal is really to conserve capital and build that capital over time. All right, guys, still nothing here. As you guys can see, there's nothing going on here for the past maybe 20, 30 minutes. So let's just measure this. Yeah, basically for the past 30 minutes here, there hasn't been anything going on. Right, price been going back and forth, back and forth. I'm still looking for entries here, but there's nothing to take right now. If we do get something, I'll start looking for opportunities, but right now there's just nothing to take. See, a question from a lot. A lot's asking, Sean, what would be a conservative projection of percentage growth with your hedge fund? I mean, the growth is going to be based on you, right? Because you're choosing how much you want to risk. If you want to risk 1%, then you can expect maybe 1 to 2% gain per month, maybe a couple break evens and a couple negative months, but for the most part, 1 to 2%. If you want to risk 3%, it's going to be even higher. For me personally, and for most people, they're usually risking a bit higher, about 3 to 5%. So. I mean, you can do the math here. So let's see, 3% times 12. So basically a 30, if you're, this is like somewhat conservative, right? 36% growth annual. So if you were to do that and you have 36, we'll just say 36 And then we'll just say we had like maybe two bad months, right? So like -6, basically a 30% growth right there. If you wanted to do a 5% risk per, well, I mean, I guess it kind of depends because it's actually not going to be that low because we're taking more than one trade. If you're doing one, we'll say 3% risk and then two net wins per month or something like that. So we'll do three times 2 times 12. Right. So closer to like maybe a 72%. This is kind of like very high though. So like 72. Um, but then we would you'd calculate maybe like two bad months or three bad months. So that minus, we'll just say 9. So you could probably expect like maybe like I on a good year, we would probably say maybe like a 50% to 60%. And that's in a good year, right? Like not every year is going to be good. Some years are going to be kind of more, I guess, good during certain times. Like for example, this month so far, or this year so far, um, like I don't know what my actual percentage is right now overall, because I don't think the this thing here really gives me that number. Yeah, it doesn't give me a number on my profitability because I have so many accounts, so it's not like balanced. But my win percentage is about 67%. So if I mean if you do basic math on that, you'd expect, maybe a 50 to 60% gain for the year. But then that percentage is based on like how much you risk too. If you have a smaller account, like people who have like 10,000 in their account, they're usually risking more. So they're doing like a 5% risk. So for them, they might see a bigger percentage gain, but the profit gain is not going to be as big as it would be for someone with a bigger account. So I'd say like to keep things conservative. I don't want to give you like an exact number, but we would probably say uh from my and let me see if I have the stats here too. Because these stats are more realistic. Let me see the stats for the year so far. Okay, so currently right now we're at a 34% gain for the year, right? So that's what I was saying. Like the numbers here, they're gonna be a little skewed, kind of depending on like how much you plan on risking. You should probably expect like on a conservative side, maybe about like we'll say like 30 to 50% gain for the year. That's usually like a solid number. But some people who are risking more, they're doing like 5% per trade, they're gonna see like maybe a 70% gain on their account. That's because they're risking more per trade. But it just kind of depends on the person. But these are the stats for the year so far. I'm currently at 34%. Not a crazy amount, but I am trading a lot of accounts. So, even though the percentage is not super huge, the profitability for the year is currently at 718. So it's just, it kind of depends on like how you're calculating it there. And also a lot's asking, and there's just split too, right? So net growth is half. Well, it depends on your account size. If you're doing a small account, like 10,000, then yeah, it would be a 50-50%. So it'd basically be half of that for net. If you have a bigger account,
20%
then it
loss.
would be like more of a 60-40 split or a 70-30. So yeah, again, there's different variables there that kind of come into play. But in a sense, if you're trading like or if you have someone with a smaller account size, then yeah, it'd be about half that. So let's see, it'd be about for right now, currently 34. So you'd be at about like a little over 15 for the year, which is still good. I mean, it's still good comparing it to like let's say a high yield savings account, right? You do like 2% annually or something like that. Or even like in a what's it called in any type of high yield, basically. Any high yield, you're going to make, a couple of percentage. Of course, this is higher risk, but you would make a little more on that. So, yeah, the variables would be your account size, your risk per trade, split, and then I guess you'd have to save some for taxes at the end of the year, but that's like extra. Chris is asking, what's your year-over-year growth? It's basically around like 30% around there, or not 30%. It's around like 50 to 60. Here, let's see if we have last year's. Let me go over here. real quick. Let me see if I can pull up last year's. And we have so much stuff here. Because I never really pay attention to the growth like that. I kind of just focus on, staying profitable. I think that's the main goal for me. I don't really care about the numbers as much because I don't, but I guess now I'm going to have to because I have to explain this stuff to the hedge fund clients. But yeah, where are the stats? Okay, these are the stats from last year. Yeah, so last year was a lot bigger. I was taking a lot more riskier trades, and I was taking a bit more of a mix of trades and different types of entries. So last year, my gain was 136,000. Sorry, for 2024, it was 136 percentage gain. But this was, this year I was taking a lot of risk, guys. Honestly, I was taking a lot more risk during this. I was taking way more bigger contract sizes. I was just taking a lot more riskier entries. You can see I took a lot more trades. So like for some months I had like 14 trades, some months I have 22 trades, some months I have 30 trades. I took way more trades in 2024. I was a lot more less conservative, more risky. So my gain over here was like 136. This year I'm a little more conservative, or I'm a lot more conservative. So in comparison to this, I'm at 30% for halfway through the year. So my trade habits changed a little bit. Not that it's a bad thing, but my trade habits here did change quite a bit. I'm more looking for quality entries and going heavier on size. So over here, yeah, you can see in January I was still taking a lot of trades. I took 27 trades in January. And then over here it's only been like very minimal, like 10 trades or less. So yeah, I mean I can't give you guys a consistent number because it's changed a lot from 2024 to 2025, but for the most part, moving forward, I'm going to be more on the conservative side. I became more conservative once I started trading hedge accounts because I can't be taking all those crazy risks as I used to. Zachary's asking, what's your projection of net ROI for the pool for a 12-month period? So for the pool, I'll be doing 3% per trade. I'll be keeping it around 3%. So the the net ROI is probably going to be closer to like 60. That's my projection, 60 around there. 50 to 60. Maybe better. I mean, who knows, right? The year could be even better. Like once I start the pool, like maybe we'll have, we'll just go through like a really consistent year. Like this year could have been a lot more consistent if we didn't have those tariffs in April. Um, and again, guys, there's no entries here, so don't worry that you guys are not missing out on any entries here right now. Um, Price is still stuck in this big range right now. So it's just a lot of back and forth. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. So let me just clean up this resistance and support area. There's a new one here that's kind of produced, so I'll just draw some new levels over here. This lower high. So we do have some new structure right here and some structure right here. There we go. But yeah, so for the pool, I'll be risking about like 3% because it's not going to make a difference for me because I would make the decision for the risk on those accounts, not the client. So it'd be about 3%. So you should probably expect something similar to like what we have here because I'm not going to change my trading habits for the pool. The trading habits are going to stay pretty conservative, and this will probably be like very similar to what's going to be executed on the pool accounts. It's just obviously the accounts are going to be more, so percentage is going to be about the same, but I'll be trading a lot more funds. Yeah, because so I think initially for the pool it's gonna start around like 1 to 3 million, and then from because I have like another client he's ready to put down like another million once the pool starts, or he's probably gonna add that separate from what he's already invested in. So yeah, it's gonna be around there because if you think about it, seeing so if I'm doing 3 mil, it's gonna be kind of similar to what I'm yielding this year so far. 3 million times. I'll say like 50%. Yeah, sounds about right. Because it's going to be a lot more. Right now, on my current accounts, I'm probably at like 1.5. So about half 1.5. That's kind of where I'm at right now too. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with my profits. So right now I'm currently at 718. And and that kind of it's kind of where it's currently at right now. I'm not at 50%, but I'm more on the 30, 40%, but it kind of lines up to being around the same number. All right, guys, still looking for opportunities here for entry. There's nothing to take here right now. Like I said, I'm being very conservative with my entries here. I don't want to be getting into anything that I'm going to regret later. Um, you guys know that feeling, the feeling of regret where you know there's no entry there, but you just really feel the need to take something. You start to FOMO into something and you regret it later. For me, I've gotten a lot better at not falling victim to that. So, all right, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Otherwise, I'll keep looking for opportunities here at 7:46. We have about 14 minutes till 8 o'clock. So we're getting there pretty soon. Yeah, I don't really see anything here right now. So if there's anything that you guys want me to cover, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I will, I'll see if anything here starts to show up. All right, guys, I'll keep watching here. As you can see, price is stuck within this range. Whenever price pulls out of this range, it fakes out back into the range, pulled out below here, back into the range. We've seen this pattern come up time and time again. So that's why for me, when price dropped below here, I wasn't looking for any entries. I was looking for that fake out back into the range. Because we've seen this happen so many times that we don't really get caught in these traps anymore. It's easy to get trapped above here, get stopped out, get trapped below here, get stopped out. In order for me to really look for something, I would need price to really drop below here and hold and stay below there. Or vice versa, price push above and then hold above here. But yeah, we will keep waiting, I guess, unless there's any other questions. I'm gonna do some behind the scenes stuff right now. I'm gonna take some screenshots of my profits, my stats so far. But if there's anything else you guys want me to cover, let me know. All right, so first trade for the month, not too bad, or for the week. I'm glad I have that trade under my belt though. I was starting to get a little antsy because we haven't taken anything this week. Even though it was a partial, I'm still glad we made some profit for this week just to have something to show for being on this live session pretty much every day. That's crazy how fast my accounts are growing though. All right. We got price coming back down below the structure here, guys. Let me see if there's anything else here for me to look at. Let's see. No, I was gonna look for an imbalance here, but there's no imbalance. Yeah, it looks like a possible another fake out. So fake out right here, pull back into the range, possibly another fake out here, pull back into the range. Basically like a W pattern. W back into this upper range. It's gonna save my profits here real quick. Yeah, and if you guys have any profits posted up, feel free to send them in. There we go. And there we go with that fake out back into the range that I just mentioned. It's no surprise there. I was expecting it. It's retesting the structure right here. So one of two things may happen here. Price is either going to bounce back into this range, or it's going to bounce off the structure and come back down. Otherwise, I just don't really see much happening here in this middle point. It's just the type of market that we're currently in. This is a type of market to really just be sitting on your hands. It seems like a lot of people are just waiting for the Jack Hole Symposium later today. This is basically the main catalyst for this week. They're going to be talking about interest rates, economy, inflation, recession, etc. And then on Friday we have Powell speaking. So you got Powell speaking tomorrow morning. Powell's going to be speaking at the Jack Hole Symposium, but he's also going to be speaking live for a speech tomorrow, a scheduled speech at 7 o'clock. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because this is Powell's last time at the Jack Hole Symposium. They're going to get rid of Powell pretty soon. I think his term is coming near the end, unless Trump figures out a way how to fire him quicker. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys, I'm not really expecting much to happen here. Again, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Let's see. Lila's asking, hi, Sean, are you going to combine all the accounts together and trade personal hedge as one using the copier? Yes, that is correct, Lila. So before I had two separate accounts. I had one that was just for the breakouts for the hedge accounts, the hedge clients. But for this time around, I'll be trading all of them on one account, or basically they're all going to be on the same trades we're taking here on the live. Yeah, so there's going to be two different options. For the for the regular hedge, like where the copier is being used, that's going to be, well, it's going to be the same thing, even once I move to the pool. But initially, the first phase right now, we're going to be doing managed futures, which is what you were doing before, Lila, or your account will just copy over. For the future, once I start the pool, it's a CPO, it's a community pool operator, and we're going to have all the funds in like one big account. It'll be the same thing, but it'll be traded on just one big account. So in the future, you don't need like it won't be copied. It'll just be your funds will like you'll send your funds over to me and then we'll put them into one big account, like one big hedge fund account. So that one's like a little different. It's gonna take a little more time for me to get that one up and running because I have to file a lot of paperwork and I have to there's just a lot more restrictions when we have that. I gotta open like a specific bank account and all that stuff. So and I got to get the okay from the regulators to open up the fund and stuff like that. So the pool's not going to be open probably not until like the end of the year, if not next year. But we will be running the managed futures where your account can still copy, basically from October up until the pool opens up. Or you might just keep both of them up. I might have the pool and I might have the um the managed future option still available. It's just the pool is going to be a lot easier because I'll just be trading one account versus like 100 accounts. All right, guys, not much going on right here. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Price is still kind of sitting around this middle area here. It's doing pretty much what we talked about. Wasn't expecting price to do much when it was up here. And again, I'm still not expecting price to do much over here. It's pretty much been consolidating sideways for the past 30 minutes to an hour now. Yeah, at least an hour now. So an hour right here, it's been an hour's time. Price has not done much. It's pushed up into this area, range, consolidated, went sideways. This is why I try to take my positions before 7 o'clock. So let me put my cutoff for 7 o'clock right here. I'll just show you guys. This is like typically how the market turns out, like pretty much every day. We get the high volatility here between 6:30 and 8, or 6:30 and 7. You get the nice volatility spikes here, 6:30 to 7. And then you get a little bit of a push, and then it starts to flatten out once 7 o'clock hits. 7 o'clock hit right here, and now it's flat, right? So I usually try to get my entries in before this period, because once we get to 7 o'clock, it starts to flatten out. It's not always like this, but for the most part, this is like normal market conditions for YM. That's why I always try to get in on those breakouts, because I try to get in on the breakouts, then the continuations, and then after that, price just kind of gets flat. If you look over here at the overall trend, over here on the 1 hour, you can see market's been kind of been going sideways for like the past week or so. A lot of people are talking about how the market's been going sideways, and they're right. The market has been going sideways. If you measure this area right here, see this is the whole week so far, from Monday up until today. See how market has not gone anywhere? It's back and forth, back and forth. So if you guys are not taking trades, I mean that's completely fine because the market hasn't been moving directional all week. So you compare this to last week. Look, this is last week over here. See, this is different. From last week, we had this directional push to the upside. So we had a lot of opportunities to take those buys. This week's just a flat week in general. So don't be discouraged if you guys are not finding entries, or if you guys are just like, you think the market's kind of whack right now. It is pretty whack. There's not much going on. If you look at this from a bigger perspective, if you go in the 4 hour time frame, it's even more obvious. Let me just take everything off here. See this? There hasn't been anything going on right here. So don't worry if you guys are not taking any trades. I know this is a good time for people to make mistakes, right? It's a good time for people to make mistakes because there's nothing going on here. It's going sideways. You compare it to last week. Yeah, obviously market was moving last week and there was a lot of entries. The week before that, right? Like, yeah, obviously you're finding entries. You compare it last week and the week before compared to this week, there's nothing going on. It's flat. Last week, nice push. Week before that, nice push. Week before that, nice push. You guys got to be real with yourselves, right? You guys can't just be thinking, okay, you can take like market's going to be like this every single week. Directional move. See, this week was a little slow for us. This was like first week of July. Look at this big direction right here. So guys, just understand that the market's not always going to be very volatile. And you got to understand that, you're not always going to find super great entries every single day. It's, it's dime a dozen. You got to be smart about it. During a slow week like this, you got to be smart and just not do anything. I've done that and I'm still in profit for the week. So, all right. Other than that, guys, it's about to be 8 o'clock. So I don't think there's any other questions here, guys. Let me see. Sam over here looks like he caught a sweep. Nice work, Sam. So Sam is still sweeping. He's catching sweeps around here. If anything, if you want to trade the sideways market, sweeps are probably going to be your best option because you can see here that price is kind of just bouncing back and forth whenever it gets to certain areas. So nice work on catching those sweeps right there, Sam. But the directional moves, there's not really too many here. Yeah, Sam said, all eyes on Powell. Price may just range here until Powell. And I agree with you 100%, Sam. That's pretty much what I'm expecting too. Lila's asking, how are we going to protect this money, LLC or S Corp? Yeah, you can probably do an LLC. And then, once it starts to make a certain amount of money, Lila, like over 75,000 net, then you can probably convert it over to an S Corp. But LLC would probably be your best option. at some point in the future. You don't have to do it now, but yeah, at some point in the future, you can probably do it through LLC. The tax liability is probably still going to be the same because you still have to pay taxes on it. So the LLC might not even really be um it might not even be useful, to be honest, unless you have stuff to write off from there, which you could, like, don't get me wrong, you could, but you're still going to be getting the 60/40 tax for futures. So you're going to be taxed at the lower rate already. Um, so either way, you're going to get taxed on it. It just depends on if you're going to have other things to write off within it, which I'm sure you can think of a lot of things, right? Utilities, computer fees, etc. Nice. So here's Lila's profits for the day. Nice work, Lila. Did pretty good. Yeah, the home office, exactly. Yeah, the home office deduction will be huge. So here's Lila's profits. Let me put them over here in the chat real quick. Nice work on that profit there, Lila. You've been on fire. I mean, I was just talking to Chris about this the other day. You've been killing it, Lila. You've been turning heads with your profits. So here's Lila's profits for the day. She locked in 1,428. Nice work, Lila. She's been on a streak. So if you look over here, Lila, um, last week she was up 1,050. You know which one's Lila's profits because her screenshots look the same. 1,400, 1,050, 1,083, 1,500. Lila's been on a pretty hot streak for these past couple months. 1,200. It's a solid consistency right there, Lila. 1,900. Yeah, you've been doing great. 600. So great work, Lila. Keep that up because you're probably one of the more consistent people in the group currently, I would say. Everyone has their times where they're very consistent and sometimes people fall off for a bit, but I think you've been like one of the more consistent people. Or maybe people can be very consistent, but they're just not posting profits, but you've been one of the few people who've been consistently posting your profits every day. So I'm glad and I appreciate that because that keeps you in line and it keeps you focused. Yeah, Lila said, I'm listening to you not being a lone ranger, trying to get 10 accounts, only at five. Yeah, I mean, five will do for now as you continue to add on. Yeah, and you can also, so yeah, once you start to make a lot more profit on the accounts, Lila, that's when you can start going into the more, I guess, more detailed write-offs, right? Like you can add your children as employees. That's kind of what I do or what I've been doing. I've been adding I added my wife as like a board member so that I can write stuff off with her too, like our healthcare and stuff like that. Yeah, it goes pretty deep. Like depending on how much money you start to make, you can start going into deeper write-offs. Adding family to the business and stuff like that, and hiring them as employees, and then paying for stuff through there. And there's a lot of ways to like recycle the money. So yeah, once you cross that bridge, Lila, we'll talk deeper into that. But I'm sure it sounds like you have an idea of like the stuff that you can write off through the LLC. Yeah, no, definitely. I'll probably create a booklet of that with all the detailed stuff, like how to tax deductions for traders. I think that'd be super useful. Steven's asking Sean, is it okay if I create an extra account to share profits with K2 members? This will help me stay consistent and manage risks in my personal account. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to do that, Steven, you could. You really just have to have like some sort of something to keep you in check, I feel like, Steven. Because for you, I feel like you're kind of you still kind of do your own thing in a sense where, the consistency is hard to keep. But all right, guys, it's 8:04 right now. We're after 8 o'clock. Like we talked about with Sam, there's just not really much here to take. Prices back in the range, like I mentioned earlier. So I told you guys earlier, a fake out and then a fake out back into the range, right? Price did exactly that. So the analysis here played out perfectly. Um, I'm kind of curious too. Like someone was telling me like, well, I mean, people have been telling me this for like years now, but they were like, I should create like another account where I just take a lot of these trades based off my analysis. Like if I think price is gonna go somewhere, just take a trade and just let it run, like on a yellow account. And that's maybe something that I should do at some point, right? I'll probably open a prop account that I don't, maybe like a Top Step account. I think I'll probably open the Top Step account or something like that, where I can just trade it on here and just kind of like let it be. I don't take super huge risk, but just take trades all off my analysis. Because the thing is, my analysis here does play out pretty well. It's just I'm trading so many accounts that I don't want to risk it. If I was just trading one, it wouldn't be such a big deal because I blow one account, it's whatever. Yeah, Kim said that would be amazing. I know I'm missing deductions and our CPA is super conservative. Yeah, the thing with trading is that it's such a deep gray area because a lot of people don't understand like what do you need, what do you actually need to become a successful trader. And realistically, there's a lot of things that you have to pay for, right? Internet, computer, all your subscriptions to TradingView and all your trading stuff. Um, your home office, your utilities, like, your light, your power, all that stuff. Everything kind of ties in. It's just you have to have some sort of you have to be able to explain why you need it and what it's for. But realistically, you can kind of, I'm an attorney, so I have that background where I don't want to say you can bullshit your way into things, but you can really bullshit your way into like a lot of things. You can make it sound like it's necessary when it really is. But all right, yeah, Sam said, okay, momentum's dying, booked his profit off the sell sweep, and he's not waiting for the 80 points. Yeah, I think it's a good time to wrap it up, Sam. You did pretty good this morning, and I'm glad you recouped that trade from earlier. But all right, guys, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, today was pretty much a bit of a toss up. We had a nice entry over here for the momentum breakout. It was a full TP for 100 points. We had the orb entry over here, which I took for a partial because it was right at news. And then we didn't really have many scalps here. We had an MPS V2, which came up earlier. High-low break and retest, it came up over here, but it was against the trend and bias. And then other than that, just a bunch of sweeps kind of just flowing throughout the market. But other than that, I don't think there was much here to take for today. We had most of the action come up right here between 6:30 and 7. After that, market went pretty much flat from 7 until 8. So, yeah, Lila said I would like to get to the point where I can take one trade and multiply by my 10 accounts and be done for the day. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing, Lila. So, once you get to that point and you have multiple accounts, it becomes a lot easier. You feel less pressure to take more trades because you can just focus on that one high quality entry and then it'll multiply across all of your accounts. It's so much nicer that way. Trust me, guys. Before I used to try to take like 5 or 7 trades, and now it's like I'm taking one trade and I'm good. Like for example, today I took one trade and I'm up how much was I? I was up 12,130. And this isn't even all of my accounts. I still have a couple more, so this is closer to like maybe 15,000 for the day. But all right, guys, I think that's it. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, I'm gonna wrap this up and I will see you guys back here tomorrow as we continue on with this trading week. So, all right, guys, have a great